father, and yes, the information were correct. I just asked to make a little change because my intervention is not a main conference. Bishop David will do that. It's a kind of witness about the issues is at stake in this conference. On one hand, we are in the year of clergy and consecrated life, and the other subject who is coming with this conference is area of conflict. And so the question is there any relations between the consecrated life and conflicts? And I'm not talking about inner conflict. But it seems to me that they are strictly connected. If you just think that, for instance, for the priest, one of the main mission is to be instrument of reconciliation and forgiveness. What does it mean? That there is a link with conflict, internal conflict, external conflict, and our mission is for this world who experience battle, conflict, and sometimes also indifference. So there is a deep link between the vocation, between a life dedicated to God and the mission of reconciliation. You know, I've been in Lebanon, and one of the son of a prominent Shia family, Muslim family, converted to Christianity and later on became a priest. And now there is the process for beatification going on. And what he said, I have made researches, I've read the Quran, I've been to India to experience this spirituality. And then I came to read the Gospel. And what struck me was this love for the enemies. I haven't found anything in all the other traditions. And that was the starting point of his long journey for the conversion. So it means that our good news is also related with a context which is not the one we foresee as normal, but it is normal because there are plenty of conflicts, open conflicts, hidden conflicts, inside ourselves, conflicts outside ourselves. And so we see this very close relation between our mission of reconciliation, of forgiveness, which is the Christian mission. After all, Jesus said, they will recognize you by the love you have for each other, but the love that is not the usual one. If you greet those who greet you, what do? Extraordinary. Nothing. Even those that don't believe do the same. If you help only those who help you, what do? Especially nothing. But if you want to be son of the Father, who has the sun shining on the good and the bad, the rain coming on the field of the good and the big like that. I tell you, pray for your enemies. Love those who hate you. So this message is profoundly related to this conference. Now, okay, this is the first thing. Second thing, I would say, because I want to leave period of time for your questions, because I do not know what you are interested in, so I will say something and then you react, and so I can say something, but in a window of 30 minutes. So that's my assigned time. I said also, I am a consecrated person. I have been ordained priest and also bishop, but I have a mission which is a little bit particular, and to be nuncio. What does it mean to be nuncio? A nuncio is a representative of the Holy Father with two capacities: to represent him in the church, within the church, and to represent him with the local authorities, with the states. And so, in a sense, the nuncio is a kind of ambassador, like you have ambassador of a state to another, but with these two hats, and represent the Holy Father. Who is the Holy Father? Not just Francis, of course, but the Holy Father is the successor of St. Peter. And as successor of St. Peter, he has two main missions. The first is to confirm in faith his brothers. We have the Gospel, the prayer of Jesus in Luke. And the second is to be the principle and also the symbol of the unity with the other apostles and disciples. So confirm in faith and be the principle and symbol of the unity of the communion between all the disciples. This is the main goal of the main missions, I would say, of the Pope. And those who represent the Pope are also trying to accomplish this mission in a particular place. I found something very interesting. For those who are very keen about canon law, we can read something which is also important. Canon 363. The legates, the nuncio of the Roman pontiff, is entrusted the office of representing the Roman pontiff in a stable manner to particular churches or also to the states and public authorities to which they are sent. So there is a mission inside the church, and this is to be together with the other bishops, a support, counselor, a friend, and to also make a bridge between the local church and Rome. And I found also a very interesting testimony, which goes back to the year 1198. At that time there was a pope called Innocent III, and he said, although the Lord has given us the fullness of power in the church, a power that makes us owe something to all Christians, till we cannot stretch the limits of our human nature, since we cannot deal personally with every single concern, we are sometimes constrained to use certain brothers of ours as an extension of our own body, to take care of things we would rather deal with in person if the convenience of the church allowed it. So the nuncio is a kind of extension of the Holy Father and his mission towards the church and his mission toward the states. And what is the mission toward the states also is summarized in the canon law, where it says to strive to promote matters which pertain to peace, progress, and cooperative effort of peoples. So we have these three main objectives. The Church also contributes to the life of the people, not just of the faithful, in promoting these efforts. And I would like to go back a little bit in history, since most probably this year also we will have the canonization of a very important Pope, the first ever who visited the Philippines, Paul VI. So on Monday, 4 October 1965, he was the first Pope ever who went to the United Nations. And he made a speech which is very important. I go back to that speech because we have some indication which concern our theme today. And he was also very, very clever, because in his delegation, when he went to the United Nations, he wanted to be accompanied by 6 cardinals. Why 6 cardinals? Try to get an answer. Yes, representing the 5 continents, plus there was also the Patriarch represented the Middle East churches, the Oriental, so-called Oriental churches. So it just showed that it was not an European leader of an European state, but it was the head of the Catholic Church, which is universal. And that not the speech, but in fact bringing these people. And also I had the opportunity to meet the Cardinal Rugambwa, who was also from Tanzania. That was my first assignment. And he was the one who accompanied Paul VI at that meeting, and he has vivid memories of these events. So sometimes also we think that Christianity is a European matter, which is completely not correct. It's not false, but it's not correct. Because when I was in the Middle East, they always told me that Christianity started there, not in Rome. And Peter, from the Holy Land, went to Rome, and Paul. But as they went there, apostles were going everywhere in the world. And Christianity came about not because of a cultural supremacy of the Roman Empire. On the contrary, at the very beginning, there were centuries of persecutions, and Christianity spread through the witness and the martyrdom of many who were persecuted by the official Roman Empire. So sometimes, especially here, because of the history, we relate Christianity to the Spaniards, the European. Now Spain is a big country, but not longer a main power. The European are not bad, but there are other superpowers. And we think to maybe that, oh, so this is a cultural moment, this cultural moment is over, and what came with this also will go away. No. Christianity came to this country through the Spaniards, that's history, but it's not something which is related to European culture only. It's universal. And mainly Christianity spread through witness and martyrdom, and not with coercion and force. So we have to be always careful where are our roots and how we are to spread when we are talking about missionary work, the Holy Father always repeats that Christianity is shared not by coercion, by attraction. The life of the Christians who show something different to the other people and get them curious why they are living that way. What is the secret of their life? What is the beauty of this message? So, the Pope, when arrived, he said, it's a historic moment because you, United Nations, you represent now the whole world. And I come not from Rome, I come from a long history, 2,000 years of history, by the word of the one who told the disciples, go in all the world and proclaim the good news. And he said, now I have arrived in the whole world. And I come here as an expert in humanity. And he said, I quote, this moment is also signed by simplicity and greatness. By simplicity, because the one who is speaking to you is a man like yourself. He is your brother, and even one of the least among you who represent sovereign states, since he possesses, if you choose to consider us from this point of view, only a tiny and practically symbolic temporal sovereignty, the minimum needed in order to be free to exercise his spiritual mission and to assure those who deal with him that he is independent of any sovereignty of this world. And it makes a difference between the Holy See, as internationally we are recognized. If you go to United Nations and you look for us, you don't look for Vatican, you look for Holy See. Santa Sede, Holy See, not the Mediterranean Sea. and the Vatican City States, which is a symbolic, temporal reality which allows the Pope to be free and independent. So it's not that the Pope is he's a head of state, if you want to consider like that, but just to be free to accomplish his mission. Let's say if he was a citizen of Italy, and Italy maybe is at war with some other countries, and so those who are fighting against Italy are considered enemies, and so they cannot come to Italy. And if the Pope is an Italian citizen, he will be subject to the Italian laws, so he cannot receive. That's why for 70 years there was a struggle between the Italian state and the Pope to get an international treaty recognizing the Vatican City State as something which is a deal, not just a concession from a government, but a deal between two subjects of international law. So you can't change that situation unilaterally. And this allows the Pope to be free in his mission. Now, for instance, if he was an Italian citizen, maybe the Italian state would say, well, if you want to be a Pope, you have to be Italian. But now the Popes are not Italians. The one is from Argentina, the other one was from Germany, and the previous one was from Poland. So you see, this is symbolic in order to be free and independent, meaning that the Church has not temporal interests. We are not selling weapons, we are not making commercial treaties and this and that. It's a spiritual mission. But to be independent, this is a mean. It's not always been there, but at the moment it's very useful. And that's why we are also ambassador accredited to the States. Okay. This was the kind of introduction. And in this very important speech, you can go and read it again, he made 4 different steps, which can also be useful for us in our mission, in any area of relation with conflict and also in peaceful time. He said that according to the UN Charter, you are here today, and it was in French, the original text, les uns et les autres, the one and the other. Each one is different, but you are together. So the first step in the relation is always to recognize and to respect the other, the differences. The one and the other. Recognition. We are not the same, but you have to recognize and to respect. And then he said, not just the one and the other, but the one with, together with the other, is a convention of all the people who came together. So the second step is not just to recognize you are there, you have your rights, but we want to do something together. The one together with the other. And you just start thinking that dialogue is something very important. And then he said another important thing. Not the other, the one over the other. There is always the temptation, especially for those who are very powerful, to be over. But at the United Nations, where they came all together, they want to stay together. And also, in a way, the principle is that no one is over the other. So also, this is important in our relation. Recognition, collaboration, humility, not one over the other. And he said, a very strong appeal, never, never the one against the other. No more war, jamais plus la guerre. That was a very strong affirmation, and that means also that is related to the mission of the church. Never again one against the other. And last step, try to get what is one, not and, not we, not over, not against, but, oh, wake up, for the other, the one for the other. And this is also the beauty of Jesus. If you look at this picture, you will see the picture of Jesus. It was for us men, for our salvation, for the other. This is something which we can apply to international life, to personal life, to community life, in areas of conflict, but also in the normal life. So, I think that I get a little bit longer. I stop here just to say that this is also the mission of the church at all levels, but also at this official level, where the Holy Father is not just a person who has a mission for the church, but also a mission for the world. And these are the steps we can always follow. If you have some questions, but before the questions, Also, I will give you, all of you, after my talk, when you get out, a picture of the Holy Father, so you will see something as a souvenir of this our meeting. And when you look at that, you remember this process. One hand, one with, one, not over, not against, but for. Very well. Questions, if you have.